It's Cooking with Nene today. Hope y'all enjoy.
Well, good morning. I was told I need to make some more cooking videos, so we're going to make biscuits today. This is soft white wheat. I just keep it in this big animal cracker container. If y'all know me, you know my animals are cookie trained most of the time. And but this is soft white wheat that I got from Azure Standard. We're gonna make biscuits, and I'll show you the recipe in a minute. But first, we're gonna grind 6 cups of this wheat berry. So there's my 6 cups, and that'll give me approximately 8 cups of flour. So it's a nice sized batch of biscuits. I make them ahead of time and freeze them. Flash freeze them on a pan, then put them in a Ziploc bag or a different container, and then I have them ready when we want them, and I don't have to worry about making biscuits first thing in the morning or cooking a whole tray at a time. I take out just what we decide we're going to eat for that day and bake them off, and just takes a little bit longer to bake them than what you normally would, but it's very convenient to have them ready. And then especially like on Sunday mornings, I can just throw some biscuits in the oven and make some sausage gravy real quick, which G-Paw put me making sausage gravy on one of the other videos. But there's the wheat, and there's the meal. I've already took the lid off, and let's see if I can do this one-handed. I might have to set this somewhere. As you can see, everything's stacked up everywhere right now, trying to combine. We're still trying to move stuff from our house to Marty's dad's house, so we'll just scoop it. Usually I just pour it all in, but we'll just scoop it. You can hear the grinder going in the background still, but I was getting some of my stuff out. I've got baking powder and pink salt, a cup of butter. The recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of sugar, but I don't want sugar in my biscuits. And then it calls for 2 to 3 cups of buttermilk, so I start out with 2. The recipe I use I got from Felicia over on Grains and Grit, and I think she adapted it from Jennifer Winger. So I want to give those ladies credit, because by no means is this my recipe. I can follow a recipe, but I don't make them. But just to give you a little tip here, I keep my buttermilk made. I started out with a cultured, I bought cultured whole milk buttermilk from the grocery store. You want to make sure it's whole milk. I make sure it's whole milk. I don't buy much dairy at the store, but I bought whole milk buttermilk with live active cultures, and I just keep a running batch. Sometimes I'll have half a gallon in here. Sometimes I'll have a whole gallon, depending on how much cooking or baking or the season. Right now, this is my half-gallon jar. I had another half-a-gallon jar just finished off. So I'm probably going to make waffles in the next day or so, because usually on the weekends I try to make waffles for the family sometime. So this is just some my raw milk that we have, and I have 6 cups of it, and I'm fixing to add 2 cups of the buttermilk, and I will shake it and leave it out on my counter till sometime tomorrow when it gets thick, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator. So it just incubates and does its thing. So you don't have to do this big of an amount though. You do 1 part of the buttermilk to 3 parts of plain milk. It can be, you can use a quart jar, you can do how much you want. We just use a lot of buttermilk, because when I make biscuits I use 2 to 3 cups. When I do waffles I use 2 or 3 cups. So it goes pretty quick when you're doing a lot of scratch cooking. So I'm going to shake this up good, because even though it's cultured buttermilk now, the cream still separates. And you can use that like sour cream. You can even skim the cream off and use it. I don't know if you can see. Look how thick and yummy that is. I don't know how many shadows. But you can see when I pour it. And it's not a, oop, the splattering. It's not a, it's not a science. It's just, you don't have, sometimes I don't even measure. If I have part of a jar left and I know I'm not going to be doing anything, I might pour half a jar of milk and do half a jar of buttermilk and just let it go. It just depends on how much buttermilk I think I'm going to be needing. And that's it. That'll sit there till tomorrow. And I'll have buttermilk for whatever I need. So let's finish up these biscuits. Here's my canister from my Nutri-Meal, and I kind of just give it a bang on the counter. That settles the flour down off the lid. See, it's all up in here. This little pitch cup. So I just kind of dump it and kind of give it a good bang to get some of the flour off the lid. And then this is pretty warm. I usually like to mill my flour ahead of time when I'm going to make biscuits. That way it has time to cool off and it doesn't melt my butter. So we might do that. I might sift it and then come back in a minute. But I need to get my little sifter. But anyway, it's just a wire mesh strainer. That's the finest one I have. They say sift it and it just pulls some of the bran out. You're not going to get all the bran out. But just get some of it out so you'll have lighter, fluffier biscuits. And I'm just keep stirring this around trying to get it to cool off some. But I'm just going to sift it through this little wire mesh colander. And, if you buy store-bought flour, they have done so much to it. They've taken all the bran out, adding more gluten. That's why so many people have gluten problems, is because they add so much gluten back in. But I'll save this bran and I'll add it into muffins or whatever. But you can kind of see, I don't know, the light's not real good in here. I don't know if you can see how that's kind of browner than what's left. And it's just kind of heavier, and it makes the biscuits heavier, and you want light, fluffy biscuits. So I'm going to sift this and let this flour cool down, and I'll come back. Okay, we got it sifted. I got my butter cut up. See how fluffy it looks now, and this is the bran we took out. We're going to set it aside. And now we're going to take let's see, we got some salt. And then the baking powder. Not soda. And I really want y'all to go over and check out Grains and Grits. They're called soft and fluffy whole wheat biscuits. I think sometimes they're listed as hearty style. But go check out Grains and Grits and give her some love, because like I said, by no means is this my recipe. Dump all this in there. And then we're just gonna mash it through here. You're just gonna keep going till it all looks like crumbly, chunky cornmeal. I don't know. And then we'll come back and we'll add the buttermilk, but you just keep working it. I'll smash it like this for a while. Oh, see, I make a mess. Yeah, so can y'all see my apron on camera? I don't know if you can see or not. We'll turn it. Look, isn't that the cutest? Got flour all over it. My friend gave it to me. She knows I love my barnyard animals. My bestie's always taking care of me. So we'll be back in a minute when I get this closer to being ready. Alrighty, we got that mixed in. I don't know if you can see it. Just crumbly in there. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's a good thing to make when you're frustrated, because man, you can work them frustrations out. So we got that. Let me get my big handy dandy spatula here. I wish the handle was a little bit shorter, but I like how heavy duty it is. So we're just gonna kind of give it a stir, kind of make me a well in the middle, and we're gonna pour our buttermilk in there. And sometimes, depending on your flour, you know, you never know the humidity in here.
Don't mix it yet.
I'm sorry, sister. Sometimes it takes more buttermilk, and sometimes this is enough. All right, we're gonna keep stirring, keep working it. You kind of stir and mash. Looks like we're gonna need more buttermilk though. If you can see all the loose flour today. So I'm gonna get my jar of buttermilk back out. And shake it good just in case, because I'm gonna pour another cup in here. We might not use all of it, but we're gonna pour about a cup. I'm gonna leave that out just in case. So I'm gonna pour some of it in there. I'm gonna scrape this off of here so everything gets mixed up good. Yep, it's definitely gonna take at least all of this. Do y'all watch these videos where people's cooking and they pouring stuff in there and they leave half their ingredients in the measuring cup? Does that irk you? I'm like, no, they ain't getting everything they need. I gotta scrape everything out. Don't waste nothing. Get it all in there. It's starting to come together. We'll see. I'm gonna work a little bit more before I add in more buttermilk, because I don't want to put too much. See, it's starting to come together. If y'all want to see more cooking videos, let me know some of the things you want to see. I have a lot of people ask me about how I make my dumplings. Maybe we'll have to do dumplings one day. Only thing with the dumplings, I don't have a recipe. It's dump everything in there and just, it goes by feel and taste. So maybe I'll have to try some and see if I can kind of halfway do a recipe. A lot of things I cook by taste or feel, so I need to get better about doing recipes. How do you keep your recipes together? A lot of mine are in a notebook with these sleeve protectors, but I started a couple of years ago. It's probably been longer than what I'm wanting to say, probably 8 years or so ago. I started writing my recipes down just a little journal type book, because I got to realizing that I enjoyed when I found something that my mom had wrote or my mother-in-law had wrote. I enjoyed seeing their handwriting. So I started writing a lot of my recipes, so my kids will have something in my handwriting. Maybe it'll mean something to them. Maybe it won't, but it makes me feel good to do it. So I do that. Let me get some stuff and I'll be right back. Okay, I had to go grind a little more flour. I usually have this little bowl in the refrigerator, or not in the refrigerator, in the freezer, hanging out. Like if I make something and I mill too much flour, I'll throw it in here. Sometimes I mill just a little extra to have on hand to feed my sourdough starter when I'm playing with it. So usually I have some in here, and I didn't today, so I had to go mill some. And a lot of times I'll throw that, if I don't put the bran in something else, or I don't have a use for it right offhand, I'll throw it in there so we don't waste it. Now I'm just gonna put this out. Oop, have a little bit of flour left in there. We're gonna just stick it on top, and we're gonna work it in there. Should have probably brought another light in here. It's kind of dark right here. Sorry about that. Y'all having issues seeing. I just kind of put all the pieces up here. We're going to use my little bench scraper. We're going to work it just a little bit to get it to all finish coming together. You're not going to knead it so much like bread, but I kind of like it a little bit smoother, so I kind of work it all together. And here's all my little bits I just lost out of it, so we're going to kind of just roll that back on there. Just kind of want it to come together where it's not falling apart. Spread us some flour out here. And I found this little roller. I use it when I make bread. But I found it at Hobby Lobby. Pampered Chef has a bigger one. A little bit bigger one. Excuse me. That I've seen several use. Might not work too good with this. Let me get my other rolling pin. This is my handy dandy one I had from doing cakes and stuff. It has the rings that go on the end to adjust your thickness, but we don't need it for this. I'm going to kind of turn it to make sure it's not sticking. And kind of want to make a big rectangle. Because what we're going to end up doing is we're going to fold it over on itself. So you don't want a bunch of flour on the top, because when we fold them, we want it to stick together. And it helps it rise to be a bigger biscuit. But also it makes it nice because after they're baked, they're almost like pre-split. So they split open real easy to add your butter or jelly or gravy or whatever you want to eat on your biscuit, bacon, egg, and cheese. So I don't know, that's half my finger. And then we're gonna pick this up, kind of match it up. I'm gonna scoot it that way a little bit. And they don't say do this, but I roll mine just a little bit together so it does stick together a little bit better. You don't want to be real rough with it because you want them to rise. But, so now it's about that thick. Might be a little bit thicker than what I normally do. That's okay. G-Paul likes big biscuits. And then I found this little biscuit cutter. I don't know. Dollar Tree, somewhere cheap. I don't never pay much for stuff like that, but it's got a real thin edge, so it makes a good clean cut. You can use a glass. I used a glass for a long time, and it had a thick edge, and you had to turn it sideways so the air would come out. And I found these, like I said, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, one of them, and it was a set of like 3. So then you just make your cut. And of course, I forgot to get my pan out. And I just cut them as close to each other and as close to the edge as I can, so I can get as many out of it before I have to rework it that I can. I just cut them all out. And I don't care if they're all perfectly round. I might cut into another circle so it has a little wop in it, but you know, I don't care. They're gonna eat the same. You could use a knife and cut them into squares if you wanted to. It don't matter. Just a biscuit. Just gonna eat it. Now the recipe says it'll make 12. I always end up with more than 12. And like I said, I make them ahead of time. Because like right now it's noon, it's lunchtime. I'm making them and I'm going to put them on a pan, put them in the freezer. And then in the morning, when we want biscuits and gravy, I'll just throw some in the oven until I brown out some sausage and make gravy. Biscuits will be ready. Because these are really good the first day. But I don't care for them reheated. To me, they just get really heavy. So, we just bake them as we need them. I don't bake them extra. So, it's one of the few things I don't bake extra. But you just work it back into a ball. We're going to roll it out again. It's really forgiving to be a biscuit dough. A lot of times biscuit dough, you rework it and you're going to have issues. I kind of try to judge to see if I got them the same size as those other ones. You want to try to use as little flour as you can so you don't make them heavy. Yep, that's pretty good. Oh, you don't have to be exact. You don't have to get a ruler out. Everybody says, oh, do it this thick or do. Just, come on. It's a biscuit. Let's roll it again. Get my edges kind of smushed in there. Paul in there taking a nap. He worked last night, and Angel's working on homework. It's just a dreary Friday morning here. Our church is doing a parents' night out tonight, so Angel's gonna go do parents' night out, and me and G. Paul, I don't know, we might come back here and just hang out, or I'm not sure if we're going to do anything. Sometimes I think I just want to come home and take a nap. Y'all get like that? You just stay tired, want to take a nap? Everything we've been through in the last few weeks, I could take a nap. What we got so far? We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 16. And I'll get at least 2 more out of this. So that'd be 18. I mean, that's good size biscuits. They'll rise up some and spread out a little bit. Like I said, we'll eat some biscuits and gravy. Oh, I don't know if we'll have them tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday, so we might have waffles tomorrow and then save the biscuits and gravy for Sunday. I like to do something easy on Sunday since we gotta do all of our born chores and everything before church. So I'll try to do something easy. So we might have waffles tomorrow. They like waffles. Okay, and this last little bit, kind of work it around. And look, I'll put it inside this cutter. Kind of mash it down a little bit. It'll be the ugly biscuit, but it'll be alright. And I just kind of roll it around like that to straighten up the edges. And it'll be just as good as the others. It might not rise quite as much. We'll see. As the rest, but there you go. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 biscuits, and there you go. I'm gonna put them on a pan, put them in the freezer. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Let me know if you want to see me fix something else.
Good. Y'all come back now. You hear?